Hey y'all, welcome back to the studio. Thanks for joining me again. I'm going to pose a question. Does art have to have a point? Or is beauty enough? Doing it because it's beautiful. Well, that's purdy right there. Purdy flower. Today I just want to talk about art for beauty's sake. Just because it's pretty. I hear this a lot. I'm working on this piece right now. And it's just a piece for fun. I did not finish the last one yet. Just don't even go there. But this one is just for fun, just for prettiness sake. And you hear a lot in the art community and on the forums and all these things and places about, OC, my original character. Is it really though? Are you really creating a story? Are you really creating a book? Are you really creating a comic book or a series of things or whatever? Most people not. Most of us aren't. We're not doing that stuff. We're just creating fun imagery and calling it an OC kind of in a way to validate it, I guess. I don't really think you need to validate it. I think art for art's sake, just for the sake of making something pretty, is enough. So I want to talk about that today. Creating art just for beauty's sake. Let's jump into the canvas so y'all can see what I'm working on. And for so much of human history, art was done simply for the sake of beauty, not for some titular itch. It is storytelling. Art is always storytelling in some capacity. But it wasn't done just for media or for whatever. It was done just for beauty's sake. It was like, that was the point of art. If you think about like the Renaissance and stuff like that, that was the point. Just to be beautiful. The architecture created was just to be beautiful. The imagery and the sculpture and stuff and the paintings were created just to be beautiful. And I think too much of that has kind of been lost on today's younger generations of artists that are all trying to make it big, trying to make it, whatever, trying to, make their name or whatever in the world. Too much of it gets lost, and it's all about creating social media identities with it versus just creating art for beauty's sake. That's what I'm working on today. I actually started from a reference, found this really cool image. I really actually like the earring here, but I kind of decided to change it up and make it my own. I might incorporate some of this element up here, which is kind of what I'm working through right now. I was like, all right, this is kind of bland and boring in this area, so I want to work a little bit more detail in there, maybe a brooch of some kind or whatever. So I haven't quite figured that out. So here's where we are on the struggle bus. Started out with some just sketching out my lines here. Where are they at? There they are. There we go. There's our rough sketch. So using reference, it's a powerful tool. Might as well use it. I don't find it easy to do often, but this time I decided to go for it. And then I laid down really quick the base coats just to check profile, or like base tones and colors. Just check the profile and make sure this is where I wanted to go with the piece. And then I come along to the point where I usually turn off the reference after I've gotten my sketch done, and then I tweak to my liking, deviating from the reference where I feel like it, sticking to it where I feel like it. Some work I could probably do in some of these areas, but I'm not going to detail too much down here. So this is where we're at now. We've got our outlines done. I've got my base layers laid in there really good, and I can use this I'm going to use the reference for lighting and all that good stuff. But right now I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do up here. But I think art is its own reward in a lot of ways, and it needs to be. Just doing art for the sake of doing art, without it having to become a thing, without it having to become some pretentious pursuit of social media fame or artistic vision and identity. Now, don't get me wrong, when you're working for someone and you're working for like a comic book or whatever, like doing comic book, doing that kind of thing, then yes, art, that is the point of the art, is to be imagery for that product that draws people in, and it makes them want to buy that product and makes it interesting. But why do people buy art? Why do you do art? It's a story. It's a storytelling. Yes, it is. It's definitely storytelling, but it's storytelling of the human experience and of beauty, capturing beauty and storytelling. I don't know. Does that add anything to it? It does. It does add something to it. And we have a little bit of reference we could go by here, because I can make this bad boy look like a big pearl in whatever that, I think that's silver. We could do that. That'd be cool. I would say, and this is just coming from an opinionated person, that if you're not making art just for art's sake, some of your art at the very least, as an artist, especially if you're not employed as an artist, if you're not employed as an artist, why aren't you making it for your own sake? Just make it for art's sake. Make it for pretty sake. Have fun with it. Enjoy it. Enjoy the freedom of being able to do art just for art's sake. Got a very attractive profile. I think we did good there. I think it's a little bit off. I went a little further back with the chin. Found it more kind of a... She's got this picture, this reference, this lady. She's got a beautiful profile. Absolutely beautiful profile in all ways. Very elegant and graceful and all this good stuff. Nice long neck and easy color scheme and everything. But I went a little more, I guess you could say, sloped with this angle here versus this here, just for my own personal tastes. Like I liked the way it looked after I was drawing it out. I was like, okay, let's just dip that chin back a little bit, tuck it in just a hair, kind of give this a little more. This is the hard for me on profiles, and I kind of smoothed the nose out just a little bit, not quite as big, not quite as pointed here. Kind of put more of my style into it, and I just ever so much shortened the brow, changed the hair obviously, and then smoothed out the slope of the nose just a hair, just a little bit. But overall, I tried to match. I tried to get pretty darn close to the swoop of her neck, which is, this is such a beautiful and graceful, moment happening right here, and in the back here where her, her spine, and you can see that offside shoulder, and then it kind of goes down into her center of her spine. Beautiful, beautiful moment happening here. This whole section is like really cool looking, great dynamic flow. So it's got a really great feel to it, overall. So that's what I was trying to capture, is that gesture there. I think I did a pretty good job so far. So we're going to keep working this way through this piece, and just see how far I get. I've got a lot of work to do here with the details, and then I got to start the render and all that good stuff. But just art for art's sake, it's got to be enough sometimes. I'm trying to work at this a little bit different to what I usually do, and kind of loosen up a little bit here. Most of that's in the light. Most of that's in the light. Fades off a little bit back here. And she just barely has some light going on over there. Bounce light from the back end there, maybe. I think there's a lot of beauty and subtlety too. Just learning how to be subtle. Learning how to be soft with your not details necessarily, but just soft with your statement. Walk softly, carry a big stick, that kind of thing. Like, you don't need to do these gigantic, dramatic, overwrought. Oh, that's definitely got some light on it. Overwrought, hyperactive images to really say something cool and say something pretty. Doesn't have to be wall-to-wall detail, doesn't have to be wall-to-wall color, doesn't have to be wall-to-wall render even. It's just, learn to tell the subtle story beautifully. Yeah, that's good. We're starting to get there. All right, I'm going to lighten it up even more. We're really going to walk in some highlights here. Now, I decided to change the planning in here. I really like the geisha and also the Victorian aesthetic. So I'm going to go with something like a geisha comb here. It just kind of came to me while I was trying to decide what to do with this thing. It seems like a better way to finish this piece up here. Okay, as you can clearly see here, I've taken a few left turns with the design. Tried a couple different things. I wasn't really digging how that was working out, so I decided to go with this right here. Kind of a ginkgo leaf inspired armor. So kind of samurai, kind of Japanese aesthetic with a little bit of Victorian, or not even Victorian, like medieval or Renaissance mixed in, and a little more decorative. I might actually dial this portion down here too. This part of the buns. I don't know, let's see. I don't feel like there's a need for a whole lot up here. Kind of my thought on this, I want to reiterate, is it doesn't really have to be perfect to be beautiful. A lot of times the imperfections, you know, the things that are not said, it's like in music, you got to play the pauses. I think the same is true for art. You got to kind of know when not to put too much in, or where it's not needed. You know, like how to dial it back and just let it be simple and beautiful on its own. Alright, let's paint this sucker. I think I finally got my ideas all worked out. Sketching and outline are done. Now we gotta paint it. And I gotta make all those decisions. Yeah, gotta make those decisions. But at least we got the idea down. Thank you for joining me again in the studio. I hope you learned something today, or hope you got inspired by something. I'm gonna finish this painting up, speed painting style. We're gonna fast forward this a little bit because y'all don't have 20 hours to watch me do this. However long it takes. I don't even know. I'm not even done yet. I'm actually not even done, so I don't know. Don't be afraid to get out there and make some art just for beauty's sake. Even if it's ugly, but you think it's pretty. That counts. It totally counts. It doesn't have to be pretty to be beautiful. Everybody's got a different thing. Don't be shy. Alright, so y'all get back out there, make some beautiful art, be blessed today, and don't be afraid to create.